Hello, my name is Scott. I'm going to be your YouTube companion here for the next maybe hour or so. What I'm going to be doing on this channel is delving into metal albums. I'm going to be reacting to metal albums. They're going to be long videos. What I'm going to do to try to help you guys out with that is I'm going to put timestamps to my favorite songs in the description and in the comments, so that you guys, if you want to, you can fast forward to some of the songs that I really enjoyed, and probably some of the bigger songs, more well-known songs as well on the albums. But my aim here is to do reactions to albums from metal bands that are not necessarily the most popular bands. I want to hit up a lot of obscure, mid-level, and lesser-known artists and give them some promotion and some shine on this channel. So I have to say that I don't make any money off this channel. These videos are heavily edited so as to avoid copyright issues, and I do give my commentary throughout the album reactions. So there's going to be some stopping and starting and some pausing, and I want to apologize for that up front. If you want to listen to the album in its entirety without me giving my feedback or my commentary, the original link to the album in its entirety is going to be in the description. So just go ahead and click that link, and you'll be able to enjoy it without me talking over it. So thank you for stopping by. If you have any suggestions for future album reactions, please put them in the comment section. Please keep the comment section civil, okay? I don't want any personal attacks, no trolling, no shit posting, and just no irrelevant or trivial information, please. Put what you want to hear me do in the comment section, and I'll see what I can do. These take a long time to do, so yeah, I don't know how many I'm going to be able to get up a week, but, you know, I'm trying this out, and I'm going to see what I can do, what I have time for, and see what sticks. So if you enjoy this video, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and that's it for the introduction. I hope you guys enjoy the video. This is an album I'm really excited about. This is by Nasum, grindcore legends. The album's called Inhale, Exhale. Looks like it was released in 1998. It's 44 minutes long, and it's got 38 tracks. So we got the really short tracks. Anthony Fantano was saying that this band, I guess, has more of a metal lean than some of the other grindcore bands. Like Nails, obviously, Unsilent Death, that sounded like it had a hardcore punk influence, pretty heavy. And then Napalm Death, obviously, they came out of anarchist punk. But these guys, Anthony was saying they've got more of a metal aesthetic, which is kind of cool. And they're Swedish. You can't really go wrong most of the time with Swedish metal bands. Like, Sweden's turned out, in my opinion, some of the best metal ever. Sweden in the UK, and Norway also, and the United States, but yeah, Sweden's up there. So, and it was released in '98, so it's probably got, you know, I'm expecting the production on this thing not to sound like complete shit. The website says that this album was almost universally hailed as a classic, and that countless bands have ripped off Nasum over the years. So the stars are aligning here. I'm hoping to God that I enjoy this album. Yay, it's like it sounds like revamped Napalm Death. It sounds like already this 24-second clip right here, I'm not even going to call it a song, okay? This is a clip. It's 24 seconds. Sounds just like Enslavement, From Enslavement to Obliteration by Napalm Death, but it sounds like it's been spruced up, thickened. I guess we'll see. I'm gonna withhold, I'm only 24 seconds into the album, but I'm gonna withhold judgment. Oh, dude, I like that. Oh, that guitar riff is pretty sexy, man. It's pretty cool. And then just the drum pattern, it sounded like mid-tempo, but it sounded busy at the same time. Kind of a funky groove going on right there. Very nice. You hear how much texture there is in the tone coming from the guitars. There's so much texture. It sounds like so hard for me to describe, but it's so thick and bulky, and that's what initially attracted me to grindcore was that sound, you know? And it sounds really bassy too. These guitar sounds that you get out of this genre are so much healthier and thicker than what you get out of like a lot of other genres of metal. That was so unexpected. Wow. That was so cool. The contrast in sounds, man. When that guitar came in, it didn't even sound like a guitar. It sounded like, an out of tune horn or something. It's just like really squealy and high pitched. I did not expect that. Okay, so maybe you guys can educate me on this. If there's any connection between these two bands at all. But why, when I'm listening to this, why am I thinking of Bolt Thrower? Do any of you guys make that connection here? Bolt Thrower was like an old school death metal band. And I don't know why I just thought of them, but like listening to this, it just, for some reason, it reminded me of that band. Maybe they don't have any connection at all. Maybe I'm full of shit, but I just thought that was interesting. Maybe if there is some connection there, maybe you guys can inform me what that is. So. This music is so bassy. I love it, man. God. Every time that bass guitar, every time he, pulls the string back on that bass in time with the drums and it creates that loud thud, man, the music just sounds so fucking heavy. The Napalm Death album was definitely, From Enslavement to Obliteration was definitely heavy too, obviously, but it sounded more raw. I did enjoy the drums on that album, but this just sounds so like beefy, man. It sounds super beefy. I really like this. I really like the sound of this album. Like, not the production, but I like the different sounds that they're creating in this music. This is really cool. Sounds like there's feedback or interference, like from over a radio or something in this song. But it's intentional. I can tell it's intentional. It's not like the staticky sound that was all over the freaking Repulsion record. Horrified. It came in about the 15-second mark of the song. It's really weird. I wonder why they chose to put that in there. And I just have to say that this vocalist is actually enunciating words. So I just heard the title of the song said by the vocalist like 2-3 times over in a row. So that was kind of cool. So I'm not going to be totally fucking annoyed that the fact that all these songs have titles, because I know there's actually something that's being said that relates to those titles. So title track. Uh-oh. It's only 1:35, but this is the title track, Inhale, Exhale. Dude, if you're a metalhead, how can you not headbang to that, man? That is fucking nasty right there. That is cool. It's grindcore sounding, but it's sort of mid-tempo, and it's not just a blast beat with the guy screaming and wailing over the top. It's like there's an actual cadence to it. That's so cool, man. I could headbang to that like this. I'm gonna keep this song tucked right here. Is that melodic guitar playing I hear? Sounds like something from melodic death metal almost. Like that guitar lick. And they waited until the 7th track to do that, you know. That's a definite left hook. I wasn't expecting that. None of the grindcore albums I've heard so far have had guitar playing anything close to that or anything like that. I'm not saying that that's superior, obviously. It's just like a small lick that they threw in there. That was an excellent song, man. I like that all the way through, dude. I could listen to that song over and over and over and over and over again, man. That was great. See, man, you can't fuck with those Swedes, man. The Swedes, they know their metal. They know how to make good metal music. That was awesome, man. I loved that song. The drummer for this band is really good. I loved the drum sounds from the Napalm Death album that I reviewed, from Enslavement to Obliteration. But to me, this drummer sounds super talented. There's all these changes and fills he's doing, and different tempos, and not everything's a blast beat. He's got mid-tempo stuff in there too. It's just yeah, I'm really enjoying the drumming on this album so far. Dude, I'm so glad Anthony suggested this. This is so good, man. I really like this. This is dynamic, man. The music actually goes through changes. Like changes that seem to have meaning and matter. And there's grooves in the music. Like, I listen to a lot of music, a lot of metal, that doesn't necessarily rely on grooves and simple riffs repeated over and over. Technical death metal is one of my favorite genres, of extreme metal. But this music has grooves thrown in at certain spots, and it's not repetitive, and it's dynamic. It's not just the same thing all the time. And that's really cool. I like that. Again, man, a nice song, man. That wasn't like blow your head off kind of song, like blow me away, but like that was a decent song. It was a good song, man. I can already tell I'm gonna like these guys. I'm gonna really enjoy these guys. Even if somebody didn't like grindcore per se, if they were a fan of heavy music, of metal, then man, this would be the entry album I would give them for grindcore. I would say fuck all that late 80s shit, man. You need to listen to this. This is like a much more creative, dynamic, interesting, much more interesting representation of what this genre could offer and what it can be. So I would recommend this to somebody and have them listen to this first. And if they don't like this, then they're probably not going to like grindcore. Another awesome riff, man. That's what I'm talking about. During that Napalm Death record, From Enslavement to Obliteration, it was pretty much blast beats all the time. There was very, very little variation. With this song, even that last song, you can tell they're trying to create some diversity and some dynamism in the music. There's like a mid-tempo. You have like a fast tempo. The song is fast tempo, but that fast tempo section is bookended by two slower sections. And they have this cool guitar riff, and it's sort of a mid-tempo section of the song, and that's how the song ends, and that's how it begins also. But then they transition into this much faster section, and it makes the music a lot more palatable. I'm not saying that the Napalm Death album was too extreme for me. It's not like I couldn't handle it, like I'm a child or something. It's just that, after you reach that high intensity blast beat and you're going 100 miles an hour, you don't really have anywhere to go, man. So, and if you don't if you don't vary up the music, it starts to get really monotonous. And I think that Nasum, or I don't know if it's Nasum or Nasum, but this band, this Swedish band, is doing a really good job keeping me guessing as I'm listening to the music. Just as I say that, they pull a Napalm Death with an 18-second song that's blast beat right off the get-go, and the guy's going blah 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 blah. That's exactly the kind of crap that Napalm Death would have done in the late '80s. So this came out in 1998. So this is like 10 years after From Enslavement to Obliteration. So 10 years is a long time, especially for a subgenre. A lot can happen in 10 years. But this, to me, seems like an ode to that early Napalm Death. This sounds like Carcass to me, man. Love those pauses in the music where all the instrumentation stops. It's pretty cool because if you think about it, if they were going to try to play that live, it would be really difficult to get everything to stop at the same instant and to have dead silence, for 2 or 3 seconds without any of the instrumentation ringing out or sustaining. And I think it's probably easier to do that in the studio. But I love it when they do that, man. It's just another way of keeping the listener off balance. It's pretty cool. Okay, so that last song, Shapeshifter, I think that's in the running for my second favorite song on the album. If I get 3 good songs from an album, songs that I'm willing to listen to over and over again, then I'm happy, man. I have low standards because I listen to a lot of mediocre shit. Sometimes I'm lucky if I can find a song that I think is worth, adding to the library up here. Sometimes I could go weeks without finding something that really just pulls me in, something that I could listen to over and over again. So far on this album, I've got 2 that I wouldn't mind hearing over and over again. So that's pretty cool. Pretty good to find that on one album. those chords are just devastating, man. And it's not even the the actual notes that they're playing. I think it's just the tone of the guitars, man. It sounds, it's like a sledgehammer, you know? Like I said before, that's why I gravitated to grindcore, because I fell in love with that sound on the guitar. And there's not really an analogous sound in any other genre of music to me. That's that distorted, that's that heavy, that's that bassy. It's just it's really neat, man. I really like it. That song, When Science Fails, may have been one of the most unorthodox songs on the whole album. Just the drum pattern was very strange. Yeah, I liked it. It's not something that I'm probably going to go back to, though. I think I almost like it better whenever a blast beat comes in. I'm not expecting it, because it kind of lulled you into the same tempo for a while in that song. That was called Closing In, by the way, that song. And then they kind of hit you with this really fast tempo at the end there, with all these really rapid cymbal hits. I like the blast beats, but I like them to be put in different spots to where they hit you and you're not really expecting them to hit you. You know, once it gets to a little bit predictable, then it's like, eh. At first it was really cool, but after, if it's done too much, then it's like, eh. Again, this song sounds like it was influenced by Napalm Death, just the way it's structured. And then the name of the song, The System Has Failed Again, seems like something like borrowed over from extreme punk rock. You know, that's the lyrics, the lyrical content in some of those more extreme genres of punk rock, like anarchist punk. They seem like they're a lot more politically and socially conscious, and they're not necessarily calling for an overthrow of the government, but they're just speaking about the different ways in which humans are controlled through various institutions and corrupt systems. And yeah, the title of this track, The System Has Failed Again, and then just the way it sounds like again, it sounds like a Napalm Death, like an early Napalm Death style track. Another good song, man. Not a song that I'm gonna play like at home or in the car a lot, but that's definitely a song that if I went to go see this band live, I would be like, dude, I hope they play that song, because this song just seems like a mosh waiting to happen. You know, this song is so mosh friendly. It's called "For What Cause," and then there with a question mark. There's so much in this album that I like. It's very extreme, but it's also dynamic. It's not repetitive. It's not monotonous. This is just a quality album, man. I'm 24 tracks in, and I'm not hating it. You know, I'm not hating myself and hating this album. That's the worst feeling when you're a music reviewer or somebody reacting to music is, you know, you get an album, you don't know what it is, and then you get about a third of the way through it and you realize that you fucking hate it, you don't like it, and you have to sit there and listen to the rest of it. Like, for once in a while, like, when you talk about grindcore, the last two albums I've reviewed, Repulsion's Horrified and Napalm Death from Enslavement to Obliteration, I didn't hate both of those albums, but it felt like a chore, you know, having to get through them. Whereas with this, I'm genuinely interested in it and genuinely enjoying myself listening to this thing. So it's a good feeling as somebody who listens to albums in their entirety. That's a whole nother rant. We got so many kids nowadays that are just cherry picking songs on the internet, you know, discovering music through YouTube. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but you really miss out on the experience of listening to an entire album. The point of an album, the reason it all comes out in one package as one discrete entity, is because you're supposed to listen to the whole thing and decide which songs you like. Don't just look up the artist on YouTube and start listening to their most popular songs according to how many views it's got or how many likes it's got. It's like, then you're limiting yourself to what other people think is good, and you're just listening to that. I understand you have to do that to some degree. Like, I'm listening to albums that I found on a 10 essential grindcore albums list on Metal Hammer, but it's like, I'm not going to Metal Hammer and asking them what songs I should listen to and then making my judgment about the band based on those songs. It's like, no, I'm listening to all of these songs, and I may end up finding songs on here that I like that the writers at Metal Hammer wouldn't even have told me about or mention. And that's the whole reward of listening to albums in their entirety, is you find all of those deep cuts, you know? You find those less celebrated songs that are actually really, really good. And that's what it's about, man. For me, like, the biggest, if you want to call it a deep cut, the song that's the best song I've heard by a band that doesn't get any recognition relative to the other songs that are on the same album and relative to the other songs in that band's discography, the song Story to Tell off of Sound of Perseverance by the band Death. That song is one of the best death metal songs of all time, and it's constantly overshadowed by songs like Crystal Mountain, Flesh and the Power It Holds, Scavenger of Human Sorrow, Spirit Crusher, the Judas Priest cover Painkiller. Like, nobody ever brings that song up, but if I had been searching for death songs on YouTube and just, started cherry picking songs by them, I may not never have heard that song, But at some point, you gotta listen to the album, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, back to this album. This song is the 24th track. It's called Shaping the End. You and your high school buddies that are trying to have an extreme metal band, a death metal band, a grindcore band, a black metal band, okay, chances are extremely likely you guys will never be as good as this band. Okay? I hate to be a dick. Just that riff this guy wrote. Let me back it up. Okay, right here. Dude, there's a lot of guitarists out there that aren't even capable of writing something like that. I hate to say that, but it's the truth, man. These guys are on another level from, what I've heard. It's a little bit of Napalm Death. It's a little bit of Carcass. I don't know why I said Bolt Thrower earlier, but yeah, this is like the most melodic grindcore album that I've heard so far, and it's got a good production job. It's not super lo-fi and super muddy, and it actually sounds good. We're making it. We're on song 25 now, the new Firing Squad. I really liked the end of that song. I'm going to play the last, 20 seconds. Just because I liked how that song ended. It was pretty intense. This song's called No Sign of Improvement. know how you could hear that song and not think that that was super intense, super in your face. I guess that's pretty extreme. I don't really get off on calling things extreme anymore. Like, nothing really shocks me anymore. I've been listening so long to these extreme genres that I'm not really like, oh, that was so extreme. But you're going to be hard pressed to find very many metal songs that are as blistering and punishing as that. That one was called No Sign of Improvement again. Oh my God! Wow. Yo, that song, that was super mosh friendly. That was like headbanging to the extreme there. I loved that riff. I mean, the song was only 56 seconds long, so when I say that riff, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain myself. Fuck, man. I wish that would have gone on longer. Oh my God, the way that song ended, like they were just getting to the good part, man. Damn. That final riff, man, was crushing. Shit, man. I feel like this band, I've already said this, but I feel like this band would be amazing to see live, man. It would be amazing. There's so many creative riffs in here. The drums are just pummeling. And the songs, they're just easy to headbang to, man. They're like begging you. Like I've said before, the music isn't repetitive. It's not super repetitive. Or they've repeated themselves a little bit, right? There's 38 tracks on the album. How could they not? Yeah, I'm just like, when I think about grindcore and my experiences with grindcore so far, as you guys know, is pretty limited. It's pretty much Cephalic Carnage, Napalm Death, Nails, and Repulsion, and Discordance Axis, and Rotten Sound, and these guys. So I guess, yeah, that's 7 different grindcore bands that I've listened to. And of course, I've heard Carcass before, but I haven't listened to Carcass's early albums. I only, really the furthest back in Carcass's discography I've gone is Heartwork. Out of all the grindcore that I've listened to, man, for me, it comes down to Napalm Death, specifically, Enemy of the Music Business and Onward, and then Cephalic Carnage, and then these guys. Like, for me, those are the 3 best grindcore outfits that I've found. And I know a lot of people like Nails. I'm not, ragging on Nails at all. For my personal taste and how I experience the music, those 3 bands that I've named, those are the best out there in my opinion from what I've heard. Alright, so far, man, my favorite tracks on the album. So far, my favorites are Inhale Exhale, the title track, Shapeshifter, the new firing squad, no sign of improvement, and this one so far started out really good. So I'm gonna let it play, and then maybe I'll add it to the list. Man, those changes in tempo are super brutal, man. It goes from being really fast to being like mid-tempo or slowed down, and then the riff changes and it's a completely different groove. That is so cool, man. The way they're able to pull that off. Like I've said before, I'm a broken record at this point, but it's not just blast beats all the time with these guys. Like, they have fun with it. You know, they realize that you can create something that's extreme and brutal and badass, and it doesn't have to be at 100 miles an hour. So, and I think Napalm Death got that message too, but early on in their career, you know, not so much. But this one's called Burning Inside. What can I say about these guys, man? What can I say that I haven't already said? Oh my God, man. This one's called it's called Worldcraft. I thought it was called Warcraft. I was gonna say, what? That's so cool, but it's Worldcraft. I was mistaken. Oh my God, man. Oh, dude. Holy shit, man. Oh my god, dude, this is so badass. Oh my god, man. How many good songs are on this fucking album? This is fucking crazy, dude. And I'm not just picking out the songs I like. Like, I like a lot of these songs. I'm just picking out the songs that, like I said before, are songs that I would listen to over and over and over again. Like, you don't find many of those on an album, okay? Songs that to you, you're just like, man, that stands alone. That's just like pure ear candy right there. That's pure heaven right there. I could hear that song 50 times and never get tired of it. So far, that song might be my favorite on the whole album, man. And I like it even better than the title track in Inhale Exhale. And that's amazing. That's hard to believe, man, because that song, the title track of this album, is fucking badass too, man. It's got one of the best grooves I've heard from a grindcore band, period. But Worldcraft, man, holy shit, that was badass. That was 2 minutes and 34 seconds too, so you got to hear a song that was actually, you know, like close to an average song length, which is awesome. Because a lot of these grindcore bands, it seems like they get an idea or they get a blueprint for a song, and then right when it's about to get good, you know, then they kind of abandon it and the song ends, and you're just like, come on, man, I wanted to hear more of that. I know that's a staple of the grindcore genre, is to have really short songs, so I get it. I understand that. But it was really cool to hear a song that was that good, and the fact that it's 2 minutes and 34 seconds, that's really cool. Definitely Napalm Death influence right there. But I guess who in this genre wasn't influenced by Napalm Death, right? Again, another awesome riff and idea, but the song ends so quickly. It's like, fuck, man. This is the final track. It's called, I guess that's Candelach. I don't know what language that is. I guess it really doesn't matter too much. I could look it up and see. It says that the lyrics for this song were inspired from the Stephen King novel Desperation. That came out in 1995. Oh, it's The Language of the Dead. I see. The Language of the Dead. I've never read this book by Stephen King, so I have no context for what the hell this is about. Candelach. Are you thinking about God? There's no God in desperation. There can only be Candelach. Anyways, I'm going to listen to the song now. 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Dude, I can't keep up with the music, man. Anthony Fantano actually is the one who told me to listen to this. Not this specific album, but he told me to check out this band. The backstory is I found this 10 Essential Grindcore albums list on Metal Hammer's website, and I listened to Nails because I'd heard a couple Nails songs before. I knew they were really intense. And I think the one I found on there was Unsilent Death. It's only 15 minutes long. I listened to it. I thought it was all right, but I noticed that there was a strong hardcore punk influence in there. And so I asked Anthony during one of his Q&A sessions, I asked him about that and if he thought that the hardcore punk thing was common in grindcore bands. And eventually he got around to recommending these guys, Nasum, because he said that they had a more metal aesthetic. Man, I'm so glad that he recommended this band to me. And then I went back to the list, the 10 Essential Grindcore Albums list, and this album, Nasum, Inhale Exhale, was on the list. So it was a no-brainer, you know. And fuck, man, that was so good. Like I said before I even listened to the album, man, Swedish metal musicians, you can't really go wrong with them. Like Sweden has turned out some of the best metal in the world, and these guys were no different. So overall, I don't know what I would rate the album on a scale. I'm not like that. I don't do ratings like that. But I was definitely very impressed with it, and I got several songs. Like I think I counted like 7 different songs. Yeah, 7 different songs that I found that I thought were spectacular and enough that I would need to write down the names of the songs so I could remember them. And that doesn't happen very often, man. Most albums, you'd be lucky if you get like, 2 or 3 songs that you feel like you want to return to over and over again. So yeah, I was super impressed with that. Like I've said, for me, when it comes to grindcore, and I forgot to mention earlier, I've heard Little Pig Destroyer also. Yeah, when it comes to grindcore for me, so far, man, it's pretty much a battle between Napalm Death, Cephalic Carnage, and Nasum. I haven't really heard anything else or any other bands that have impressed me as much as those 3 when it comes to this specific subgenre. Enjoyed watching this video as much as I had fun making it. And yeah, if you guys have some suggestions for other albums that you want me to do a reaction to, just put those suggestions in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well if you enjoyed the video. And I appreciate the support. I hope you guys have a good day, good afternoon, good evening, and I'll see you next time.